Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, episode 2 of Blood and Honor by Chris Metzen. Believe it or not, by the end of this video we'll be a quarter of the way through the story already. So let's go! Meanwhile, in a flashback, a much younger Tirion Fordring was currently hanging about inside a cathedral, looking proudly towards a stained glass window which depicted an image of a regal warrior. The man, surrounded by a halo of golden light, held a mighty warhammer in one hand and a large tome in the other. And the inscription on that tome read Isaris Thar no Darador, which translates to, "By blood and honour we serve." The young knight then knelt down and bowed his head in prayer. To the left of him stood a group of men in white robes, clerics, warrior priests from Northshire, and to his right, another group stood, dressed in heavy suits of armour, the Knights of the Silver Hand. Directly in front of Tirion, standing at an altar, was another robed man. "In the light, we gather to empower our brother. In its grace, he will be made anew. In its power, he shall educate the masses. In its strength, he shall combat the shadow. And in its wisdom, he shall lead his brethren to the eternal rewards of paradise." The Archbishop then closed the book he was holding, whilst Tirion felt a rush of excitement sweep through his entire body. "Clerics of the Northshire, if you deem this man worthy, place your blessings upon him." One of the priests stepped forward, approached Tirion and placed one of those decorative Christian scarf things around his neck. He then placed his thumb in a vial of sacred oil and booped the young knight right on the forehead with it. "By the grace of the light, may your brethren be healed." And with that, the cleric bowed and backed up, standing back once more among his fellows. "Knights of the Silver Hand, if you deem this man worthy, place your blessings upon him." Two paladins stepped forward, making no effort to hide the obvious pride on their faces. One of them then placed an exceptionally crafted warhammer at Tyrion's feet, whilst the other dropped some heavy silver plates upon the young knight's shoulders. "By the strength of the light, may your enemies be undone." That second paladin, one Saden Dathrahan, then shot Tirion a quick wink, who smiled in return knowingly, and the two of them then backed up and returned to their group. "Do you, Tirion Fordring, vow to uphold the honour and codes of the Order of the Silver Hand?" "I do." "Do you vow to walk in the grace of the light and spread its wisdom to your fellow man?" "I do." "Do you vow to vanquish evil wherever it be found and protect the weak and innocent with your very life?" "By my blood and honour, I do." "Brothers, you who have gathered here to bear witness, raise your hands and let the light illuminate this man." Both groups at Tyrion's flanks raised their hands, and Tirion watched in amazement as a soft golden radiance began emanating. The light then enveloped him, sending life-giving energies through his entire being, energies that could heal any wound or cure any disease. It was glorious. "Arise, Tirion Fordring. Welcome to the Order of the Silver Hand." Buh! Tirion woke with a start, and was ever so slightly confused to find himself lying in a bed, with the sound of children's frolicking coming through a nearby window, as well as the familiar hustle and bustle sounds of everyday life within the grounds of Mardenhold Keep. How the hell did he get here? As his groggy mind started to clear, he then realised he was lying on sheets soaked with sweat that smelled kinda nasty. How long had he been asleep? What the bloody hell was going on? Tirion then tried to recall the events that had led to this moment, but due to the incessant pounding in his head, it was all a bit blurry. He remembered the dream he was just having. Bunch of robed people, bunch of armoured people, an orc. Wait, an orc? That certainly wasn't an orc at his initiation ceremony. A few more images then flashed in his mind, which helped to make things a little bit clearer. There was a fight between him and an orc, and he'd lost. Nah, what a load of nonsense. "Thank the light, you're awake." Tyrion's wife Karandra rushed over to him. "I was beginning to wonder if you were going to sleep clear through mid-year." "How long have I slept?" "Nearly 4 days." 4? I don't even know what happened. "We're not exactly sure either. You left in the morning to go hunting, but you were late returning. I got worried, so I sent Arden out to find you. He barely made it outside the keep before he found you atop Mirador, unconscious, tied to the saddle with your own reins." "Tied to my saddle? That doesn't make any sense." "Your ribs were broken, Tirion, and your arm had been sliced clear open. Tirion, whilst you slept, you cried out a number of times in delirium. About orcs, my love. You said that there were orcs in Hearthglen." At that moment, memories of the previous encounter came flooding back to Tirion, so he looked his wife deep in the eyes and nodded grimly. "Light save us." However, the door to the room then slammed open, with a 5-year-old Tirion Fordring bounding inside.
"Daddy!"
The boy then threw himself at his father.
"Oh, Tirion, my boy. Have you been good for your mother?"
Another voice boomed through the doorway, as a man entered.
He's mindful often enough. Just as rambunctious as his father ever was, though. I hope I'm not intruding, my lord. I saw young Talon here rushing this way like a raging ogre. Tried to catch him before he woke you, but I see I need not have worried. Randra tells me I have you to thank for hauling me back to the keep, Arden. If I had a gold mark for every time you fished me out of trouble, I'd... Never mind that. All I did was lead your horse back. If you thank anyone, it should be Bartholus. He just about burnt himself out trying to heal you. You've taken quite the beating, my friend, and us all concerned there for a while. I know. There's some things we should discuss immediately, Arden.
Tirion then glanced towards Karandra, who nodded in return.
Come on, Talon. It's time for your nap.
Meh.
And then, both the mother and the child buggered off.
It was an orc, Arden. And more than likely it's still alive. Pretty sure it was alone out there, but until we know for sure, I'd like to keep this between us. I don't want to panic the entire province. That might be a problem already, my lord. Bartholus was on hand a few times whilst you slept. He heard you mutter about the orc. As soon as he heard it, he flew into a full rage and started demanding an entire regiment be sent to scour the countryside. Oh, damn it.
Now Bartholus was a young man, and had only recently been anointed into the Paladin order, and although he had been a good student, he had an almost zealous obsession with fighting orcs, which was understandable, considering his parents were slaughtered by them during the war.
I doubt he's been tight-mouthed about my encounter. How many people know, Arden? Rumours have been flying all about the keep for the past few days, sir. Everything from a raiding party to a full-fledged invasion force. People are terrified, Tirion. The last thing anyone wants is for the Horde to return. Assemble my advisors. We'll continue this discussion in council.
Arden saluted and turned to leave, but Tirion wasn't finished.
One last thing. The shape I was in when you found me. Yes, sir. There's no way I could have tied myself to Mirador, is there? No, sir. Not a chance. You saw no one else out there? No, sir. There was no one. I even went back later on to search for tracks.
Tirion nodded and dismissed his lieutenant, and then started to ponder. There were only 2 people in the woods that morning. Himself and this mysterious orc. Could it possibly be?
Thank you, Bartholus. If not for you, I'd have likely gone and joined the light. There's nothing, my lord. I'm sure you'd do the same for me. I wish it had been me facing that orc, though. His head would now be adorning our battlements.
There were a few raised eyebrows around the room before Bartholus corrected himself.
Of course, that's not to say that you couldn't have defeated the beast, my lord. Anyhow, I would prefer that we kept this matter to ourselves for now. I'd rather not rile the citizenry up until we have a better understanding of what we're dealing with. With respect, are you suggesting we keep silent whilst the enemy creeps unhindered through our lands? We should scour the woods immediately. Every second we waste here could... You're assuming there are more orcs out there, Bartholus. I was there, and I saw none. This is not the time to start jumping at shadows. Jumping at shadows? An orc beats you to a pulp and you want to remain calm? This is madness.
A few advisors around the room gasped and started clutching their pearls. But Bartholus continued, undeterred.
We should mobilise a hunting party right this instant. And watch your tone with me, boy. Last time I checked, I'm still governor of this province. And your direct superior as a paladin. For so long as I am, we will do things the way I see fit. You will remain within the keep's grounds until I order you to do otherwise. Is that clear?
Are you so shaken by this recent beating that you're too scared to do your duty? Shut up, Bartholus. Stop being a prick. However, Tirion simply stepped towards the young paladin, looked him dead in the eye, and calmly said,
You may leave my council room. Now.
It was in that moment that Bartholus realised he'd been a little bit hot-headed, so he calmed himself.
Of course, my lord. I'll await your orders eagerly.
And then the young paladin buggered off.
I'm sure you will. He's brash, but he's a good man at heart, sir. I'm sure he didn't mean... I know what he is, and I know what he meant. He's always been ruled by his passions. They're what make him an exceptional paladin, but they're also what make him a liability. But I'm sure he'll come around once he's calmed down fully. He always does. But, Tirion, sir, what if he's right? What if there are more orcs out there, ready to strike at us whilst we sit here and do nothing? Under no circumstances do I plan to do nothing, my old friend. I'll be taking care of this matter myself.